you guys might cut it close and there might not be any money until the next month or until they find the next round of funding. You know, it's life. But if you don't want to deal with that, don't work for a startup. I just want to say before we start, can I get some likes for fixing my hair and not looking like a bum for once? If you haven't been here before, welcome to Dummy Codes. And before you even watch this video, I want you to answer one question for me, or two. Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? Do you see yourself working for a startup? Do you see yourself working for a stable company? Or do you see yourself working for a stable company or a startup trying to start your own side thing? I'm really curious as to why people get into software development, so do me a favor, answer that in the comments, like the video. A lot of you guys got into software development for many reasons, right? Some of you guys got into it because your parents thought it would be a good major. Some of you guys got into it because you've been really into coding and computers since you were a young age. And some of you guys got into it because you see a bunch of billionaires and millionaires pop up every month or year or 5 years, and you want to be one of them because every time it says tech billionaire, tech millionaire, and you said, let me look into this. Now, if you don't really care about money and you care about being challenged, care about being excited about new opportunities, this video is to try to help you answer the question, should you work for a startup? I personally work for a startup right now, and a little story about me is the fact that I was straight out of a coding boot camp, hired into a startup based off my videos. Thank you guys so much for watching my videos. And I was the first developer, and I'm currently the only developer at the startup. So just being in this position, off the top of my head, I'll tell you what you're gonna have to deal with, right? You're gonna have to deal with a lot of responsibility. You can't really have time to freeze because of imposter syndrome. Things might be going really well, and then next week, horribly. Before I get to the should and shouldn't, one tip I'm going to give you that is crucial to any type of startup environment, please, please, please make sure you have a great leader. Whoever is your boss, make sure that they are a great leader and they actually care about what they're doing. There are a lot of startup founders out there who just care about money and they come from money. Watching their company fail might not be the biggest issue to them because they're in love with either being an entrepreneur or they have so many connections that they're not gonna have a hard time raising money for their next thing. The founder of your company should live and die by keeping your company and your job secure, right? That's what matters. So here are a couple reasons you should work at a startup. Working at a startup, especially in the early stages, is a great learning opportunity. It keeps you challenged every single day and you never know what to expect. If you love those types of things that keep you on your feet, having to deal with new problems every day, wearing different hats, and you enjoy that, you should work at a startup. Another reason you should work at a startup is if you care about seeing your work actually be presented on the product that you're making. And so if you write some code and you like to see users directly interact with what you just did, amazing. So if you join somewhere like Facebook or Instagram or something like that, like you're not really going to see directly what you've done. You're not really gonna get that satisfaction factor of seeing a feature you just created with your own hands being used by a customer like in the next month, right? And the thing is, your input matters so much more. If you work at a company with 10,000 employees, obviously your input won't matter as much. But if you work at a company with 5 people, 10 people, maybe even 20 people, your input obviously greatly affects what you guys are creating. And I found that working at a startup is a great way to deal with imposter syndrome. Like me being the only person on our team literally creating the whole application, I don't really have to have imposter syndrome. Actually, I did. I'm lying. It was really bad at first. And then once I took a deep breath and I enjoyed this, it kind of just went away because you have nobody to compare yourself to. Your only thing you should worry about is enjoying the challenge that you've been given and doing the job. Another reason you should work at a startup is if you're a risk taker, right? If you like to just build things from the ground up, give it your all just to see what might happen, and just the trip to the goal, the journey to your goal is just what you enjoy most of it. And money is money, but at the same time, you enjoy everything that's going on. You enjoy how high pressure it is. You enjoy the stress it gives you for some reason. You enjoy working every single day of your life. If you're in that category and that's what genuinely brings you happiness, then go ahead, do it. Here are some reasons you should not work for a startup. This is something that I've done so many times. I brought work home. I know it's common to bring work home no matter where you're working, but When you're working for a startup, the thing is the product is so small, everything is at the beginning stages that you tend to care about it like it's yours. Like I said before, you're going to be giving a lot of input. You're going to put a lot of, everything you do is going to matter, right? You're not just going to be some replaceable person. Yes, a job is a job, but at the same time, everything you're doing matters significantly more on a smaller team. The problem with that is you're going to care about your work more than usual, meaning that you're going to be working on the weekends, even though when you don't mean to, you're just going to be bored on your own, on your weekend time. I'm mad about this because this is what I did. On my weekend time, I just found myself working on the application. I found myself trying to learn so I could, add some new feature. It wasn't requested of me. Yes, we're startup, but it wasn't requested of me or anything like that. I just did it because I care about what I'm creating. I've worked on it for months. I want to see it come out. You shouldn't work at a startup if you care about money. And it's weird to say because people who work at startups and it's actually successful typically end up striking it rich. But I'm saying in the beginning, you're absorbing a lot of risk. And one thing you're absorbing is the broke life. You're not going to make as much money as your counterparts. Say in the Bay Area, your friend just got a job at Google out of college and making 120, 115, 130 grand a year. If you decide to work for a smaller starting stage startup, you might be expecting 90 or 100, which is still a lot, don't get me wrong, but even in some cases, maybe 80. It just all depends on what you're willing to do. Now, so if you care about money, don't expect some. You shouldn't work for a startup. Now, this is the biggest risk factor about working for startups. As you guys know, startups fail a lot. I think more than 50% or 40% of startups fail in the first, I don't know my numbers. More than something percent of startups fail in the first 4 years. Typically, like I said in the beginning, make sure you have great leadership, but typically it's because of the leadership. It's because of the people not handling their business. So if you handle that part, you're fine. No, you're not. But there are other risk factors to why your startup might fail. So for example, with everything going on with Corona, a lot of startups are probably just picking up and then for some reason they're connected in a way where they needed users. Users are just fragile and desperate, and Corona happened, and a bunch of startups that could have been the next unicorns just got wiped out and we'll never hear about them again. Sometimes it's bad luck, sometimes it's the founders, you never know. That is a risk you're gonna have to take. If you're not willing to do that, don't work for a startup. Now, this is something that I've had to deal with, but this is a real thing. Things were going great and then money issues come in. And by money issues, I mean, I didn't get my money. My money was delayed. The founder of your startup should be very transparent with you with everything that's going on, especially if you have a small team. That matters so much. I can't tell you guys how much that matters, because then at the end of the day, if they're saying, hey, we have like 3 more months of runway, it's up to you if you want to get a new job or if you want to keep sticking with us and seeing what happens. That's all on you, right? But expect that sometimes you guys might cut it close and there might not be any money until the next month or until they find the next round of funding. It's life. But if you don't want to deal with that, don't work for a startup. So I know there's a lot of college grads out there who are ready to join the, job force, is it called? Job force? Whatever it's called. I know there's a lot of people who are ready to join. They've heard about making money, so they're excited about making money. They're excited about being challenged. But you got to remember, there are people who work at FANG companies who are geniuses, who could easily, they've been in Silicon Valley for years and years. So they have connections, they have the knowledge, and they've collected enough money to maybe even start their own company. But some people just are happy feeling comfortable, right? Some people want to constantly be in a state of stress and literally jump from startup to startup to startup for the sake of finding the challenge and maybe striking it rich. Whatever the case is, ask yourself and let me know in the comments below, what fulfills you? Is it making a lot of money and being comfortable, or is it constantly being challenged? And well, yeah, that's it, actually. But thank you guys for watching. Please remember to like the video. I always forget to ask that. That's why my channel is dying. Go ahead and comment, and I appreciate everything. I'll see you guys later. And before you even one question from bro, Why are you making all the noises that you weren't making when I was doing nothing?